My name is Mike, as always, coming to you 2 times per day, every day, to make sure you know credit like it is your child's name. And if you don't have any kids, you better know it like your name, because we want to make sure that when you have to make any decision when it comes to credit, buying a house, getting a car, getting a loan, getting your first house, renting an apartment, that you know exactly what to do. You know how to leverage your credit. You know how to maintain your credit. You know how to multiply, right? We don't want to add, we want to multiply credit. And so same thing with money, right? It's not about adding, it's about multiplying. So I want to help you get into a position to where you can be in the 800 club, right? Back maybe 3-4 years ago, everybody was saying, I want to get into the 700 club. Well, now the new 700 is the 800. Most people want to be in the 800, right? Because now it's a realistic goal to get to the 800. So if you would take a second and hit the subscribe button. If it's your first time on the channel, for you guys that have been here with me for a minute, every day I'm bringing to you all the top information on credit, the best, most relevant topics that are on credit. And I want to make sure that all my new subscribers are here, because again, we're doing 2 videos a day. I'm the only credit channel doing it twice a day now, so that way you can really learn. So if you'd hit the subscribe button your first time, for everybody else, just hit on that like button, share it with somebody. Share this video with somebody. This is going to be helpful. This is going to help people. And our mission to change the national credit average is because of you guys sharing the videos. It takes a second. Hit the share button. Share it with text it over to a friend, a family member, someone you can help. So what I want to share with you today on this video is 3 hacks you can use that if you're getting denied for credit cards, okay, whether you have a high credit score already or you have a low credit score, these hacks work. And they help you get credit cards. Okay, so the first hack is this. Usually when you apply for a credit card, what comes back is you see a thing that says 7 to 10 days. And it'll say, we'll send you something in the mail. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. The thing pops up on the screen and says, we will reach out to you in the next 7 to 10 days. Now, there's 2 variants to this. Number one is sometimes there are credit cards that don't do an instant approval. For the ones that do not do an instant approval, that 7 to 10 days is a real thing. They just don't say you're approved within a short period of time. So what you want to do is you want to Google credit cards that do instant approvals. And it'll be a list of cards that actually give you approval within a couple seconds. The ones that make you wait, if you do want one of those cards, I'm going to share with you what happens, because there is over 500 different algorithms that make up a credit score and an acceptance, an approval, or a denial. So when they go to the banks, there's humans that actually put all these algorithms together to go, hey, if this happens, approve. If this happens, deny, right? And then there's 500 of those. So it's hard to determine whether or not the computer is going to say denial or approval. So what happens is it comes back internally as lack of sufficient info. Okay, that is the number one reason for a denial. Lack of sufficient info. Now, if you knew this, and you knew the number one reason it comes back is because of an address, gave you a bomb right there. What that means is this. When you're applying for a credit card, if you get that 7 to 10 day, hey, 7 to 10 days, we're going to let you know by mail, and it's an instant approval card, that does not mean that you didn't get denied. Most people think that's the kiss of death, and they're like, that's it, I'm done. What it does mean is that the computer system didn't like something you put on the application. So if you knew that, you're going to be doing what I'm going to share with you in a minute so that you can potentially get approved. Because again, think about it this way, a computer system versus a human. Computer system has 500 different things that's going to go through. And if it doesn't like something, it's going to spit out a denial, or it's going to spit out, even if it comes back and says you've been denied, that does not mean you've been denied. Most people just give up. They apply for something, they end up getting an inquiry, and then what happens is they think they get denied, so they just give up on the credit card. That does not mean that. I'm going to share with you in a minute how. The second thing I want to talk to you about is this. If you're applying for a credit card, would you lend to you? The first question you ask yourself is this. Why do I keep getting denied? Okay, so you have to know that if you're applying for credit cards and you're getting denied, you have to ask yourself, if you were a lender, would you lend to you? And what that means is this. Have you made all your credit card payments on time? Are there any collections? Are there any charge-offs? Is there sufficient history to substantiate the credit. In other words, if you have no late payments, no collections, no charge-offs, but you have a thin file or a ghost file or what we call a account that is aged less than 6 months. So maybe you went through credit repair. Maybe you went through my Lambo program. Maybe you went through the Maserati. You got elite credit repair. You have no more negatives. But there's no positives on there. So therefore your history, because the negatives are gone, but there's no positives to go, okay, well, now I don't have any positives on there. So how are they going to lend to me? Well, they will lend you because most small banks that are subprime will give you a chance. They're going to give you a $300 credit card, right? And it's going to be some of the, the Horizon Golds or the Credit One banks or the Capital One Platinum cards. Those baby credit cards are very high interest, right? They come with usually with an annual fee, but they'll give you a shot if you don't have any positives because they're going to only risk $300. You're not going to get no $15,000 credit card. So I want you to think about that and then ask yourself, would you lend to you? Because if you've got collections and charge-offs and late payments, the answer should be no. I wouldn't lend this person if they got a bunch of charge-offs and collections on their credit report and they're late every month. I wouldn't lend to you. So if my credit report today is an 829, my score is an 829, back when I was at a 515, I wouldn't lend to me. There's not a chance. I had 10 collections, guys. I had 10 collections and multiple late payments. And enough was enough. And I documented and said, you know what? I'll never live my life like this again. I'm going to document everything along the way, and I'm going to call it the credit game because it's a freaking game. When you learn the game, you're going to learn how to beat the system. There's a trick you can use with Tradeline. Part number 2 is this. If you knew this little trick that I'm going to tell you right here, it would be a game changer to you getting approved. If you put a trade line, and most of you guys don't know what a trade line is, it's an authorized user trade line. It means it's somebody with great credit, low utilization, no late payments on the card reports to the bureaus, and it is aged, is willing to go, hey, I'm willing to add you to my credit card, whether that's a friend, family member, maybe it's coworker, or maybe you go through my vendor here who's been vetted and screened to make sure that all the criteria I just talked about is already done for you. If you are getting denied because of lack of sufficient history, now let me tell you this again. If you don't have history when you apply for credit cards, you will get potentially $300 to $500 credit card, potentially. If you have a lot of age on your credit report, then the system picks up that this person has been responsible for X amount of months, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years without missing any payments. Now you see where the trade line comes in? Because now the trade line comes in and goes, hey, once this thing reports, now I've got 9 years or whatever the card you get, right? We don't recommend anything under 5 years old with at least 10,000 credit limit if you're going to get added to something. Now, boom, you have that 5 years of perfect payment history. They're looking at it going, there's 60 months of history. And thankfully, authorized users are still considered by 80% of lenders in the consideration of getting a credit card. Let me say that again. 80% of credit card lenders still are considering trade lines as a personal account in the consideration for your approval. If you knew that, you would instantly think, if I have lack of history, I might want to add a trade line instead of waiting years, right? Because there's a way you could do it. You could continue to make your payments on time for the next couple of years. Sure, that's going to build up your history. Or you can do the 2021 version, which is add a trade line, and now you instantly could have 10 years of history if you wanted it. Now, the next thing I want you to look at is this. Because if you have age, and maybe you don't have any negatives, but your high credit limit is only $500 on, let's say you look at your credit report right now, you're like, my high credit is only $500. Do you think that if you applied at a Navy Federal or Citibank or Discover, that they're going to give you 10,000? No, they're not going to give you 10,000. Why would they not give you 10,000? Because your high credit is only 500. So how do we go from 500 to getting the big boy credit cards, the 5K plus? The way to do it is you add trade lines to your credit report with higher limits. Remember, this is a piggyback off of somebody who has great credit, and they're willing to share their credit with you. We have a vendor in here. You guys get 75% off a Tradeline. Let's say you don't have a family member or a spouse or a husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or somebody that's willing to trust you. The vendor inside the credit game goes, hey, I'm going to work with credit game clients only, and I'm going to give you 75% off a Tradeline because we've already vetted all the cards. There's 2,000 credit cards. And you can get whatever credit limit you want and whatever age you want, depending on your report. So now, let's say your high credit's 500 and you want a Tradeline. And you put a $5,000 credit limit Tradeline with 5 years or 6 years, 7 years old. So now when you apply for a credit card, guess what your high credit is? Is it 500 or 5,000? 5,000. So when you apply, they're going to take that into consideration what your high credit is, which is why when I apply now, I don't get usually less than 25,000 because all my credit cards are over 25K. They don't give me a $500 credit limit anymore. They give me 25,000 plus because all my credit cards are mostly above that. So your high credit dictates the credit limit you're going to get. In order to do that is you could slowly work your way up by doing it yourself, sure, just like you could slowly work your way up by adding age over time, years it takes, or you can add trade lines and do it synthetically and it's completely legal. And at the same time, it saves you a whole hell of a lot of time. That's the trade line trick. Okay. Now, the other thing that makes you extremely risky is utilization. So you guys that have like 60, 70, 80, 90% utilization on all your credit cards, you become a risk factor to the lender. So they say, hey, we're going to give you a smaller limit because all your credit cards are maxed out. And it's kind of asked backwards. They don't want you to use credit cards, but they do want you to use credit cards. It's one of the systems this is why they call it the game, because it's one of these things where if you don't know this, it's kind of like, what? I don't understand. You say you want me to get more credit cards. You say you want me to use my credit cards because that's obviously if you use your credit cards, that means there's going to be more interest to the bank. The bank loves interest. So, but then you won't lend to me because I have interest on my credit card, because I have high utilization. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, the reality is this. In order to have the highest credit score, you want to be at 2% utilization on all your credit cards. In order to get more credit cards, if you're starting to apply for credit cards, you want to make sure utilization is under 10%. Ideally, 10%. It can go up to 20, but ideally your credit cards should be under 10% when you apply for your next credit card. If you guys are 60, 70, 80, 90% are maxed out, it becomes very risky because they think that you're using the credit cards to basically fund different things. And they're like, okay, he's using a bunch of credit cards. That means they're cash strapped. Long story short is they don't want to lend to you. So here's the thing, what happens. Let's go back to number one. If you get denied for a credit card and it comes up, that box comes up and says, hey, 7 to 10 days, instantly, do not think that is a denial. What I want you to do is I want you to Google reconsideration line and then the card that you are applying for. If it's Discover, Capital One, if it's Citibank, Bank of America, if it's Chase, if it's Navy Federal, if it's US Bank, USAA, whatever case is, I want you to go reconsideration line, Bank of America. And it's going to pop up a number. And you're going to get on the phone because remember, there's 500 algorithms that either say yes or no to your approval. And you're going to call up and you're going to be extremely nice. Remember, you want to collect more bees with honey. So you want to be nice and you want to say, look, I just wanted to call in to see what my credit limit was because I am looking to redo my kitchen. I'm looking to do, tile floor and stainless steel refrigerator and so on and so forth. And I need to figure out what the credit limit was that you guys got. Now, I just assumed the sale. I didn't call up and say, hey, did I get approved? You see the difference? I called up. I was really nice. I did basically, I'm talking to the people because remember, they're getting hammered all day by people with customer service questions, all this. Be nice to them. Be nice. Have the small talk and say, hey, look, I just wanted to call in because they didn't send my credit limit online. They didn't send it. And so I didn't know what it was. So I just wanted to call in and see what it was. Okay, Mr. Jones, let me check it out for you. Okay, it looks like maybe you're still in review. Okay, would you mind taking a look at my credit report? I've never been denied for any credit cards. I mean, obviously, I've got great credit, or I may have had a hiccup last year, whatever the case is. But would you mind taking a look at my credit report and just letting me know if it's, what my credit limit is, please? They'll take the time. These are humans. That's why they call it reconsideration line. They're humans that'll get on, put you on hold for a minute, go look at your credit report, and they'll come back and say, Mr. Jones, I looked at your credit report, and at this time we're willing to congratulations because we're ready to give to you, $3,000, $5,000, or whatever, $10,000. Okay, This works. This reconsideration line works. Trust me, it works. It is a trick bomb like that I've been teaching for many years. Number 2 is the application. When you guys are filling an application, you got to think that you got to stop putting right, for educational purposes only. The next part that I tell you is A and B. Okay, this is for educational purposes only and should be only used for the consideration of that. If you're filling out an application and the information you know is stated, which means that it's not verifiable by tax document or bank statement, and it said, how much do you make per year? I'm going to give you a client that filled out 1, and then I'm going to give you a client that filled out 2. Client 1 put he makes $86,452,000 a year. He has a stable job that he's been at for 7.4 years, and he's been running at the same place for 5.3 years. He's got checking and savings account. Client A. Client B, $14,217 per year, unemployed, lives with mom at this address for the last 3 months. Does not have an active checking and savings account. Does A have a better chance of getting approved, or B have a better chance of getting approved? Put in comments, A or B. Which one has a better chance of getting approved? Just put in comments for me, which one, A or B. The next thing I want to share with you is this, and I'm going to finish up. When you are getting a credit card, one critical thing you can do is understand that banks are relational. What they're basically is what they like relationships. So anytime that you can go into a bank, show your ID, sit down with a banker, open up a checking and a savings account that same day, and then go back to that same bank 1 week later, 7 days later, and you're in the system. When you go back in, you say, I would like to apply for your credit card. Your chances increase of getting that credit card for 75%. And I know specifically one bank that this does really well with. Most credit unions, okay, Navy Federal specifically, and Bank of America. Bank of America, go in, you open up a checking account, you open up a savings account, whatever, put $100 in there, whatever, just open up, go back 7 days later and say, I want to apply for your Bank of America rewards card. Please don't do this if you have a 500 credit score. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. This trick, unbelievable amount of my members and students have came back and go, wow, that works. And they're able to get, between $3,000 and $7,000 red Bank of America rewards card. Banks are relationship based. They like the fact that you open up an account first, you come back 7 days later, and you're in the system, and they're like, okay, cool. So guys, I want to leave you with these bombs here. I know you're probably going to go back and watch this video 62 times, which is fine. I want to leave one thing with you. If you're watching this video right now and you're like, Mike, look, this video is awesome. I appreciate all the content, all the gems. And you're like, look, but I need help. I have a lot of collections. I have charge-offs. I have late payment, whatever the case is. Okay, high utilization. And I'm sick and tired of having bad credit. I'm going to do something special for you. And I'm only doing it for 2 people. And what I'm going to do with you guys today is when I contacted the vendor today, I said, is there any spots open for our Lambo program? They told me this specifically. With the amount of reviews that came in off our website, creditgametheletteru.com, they were so proud of the work that they have done. They're like, this is unbelievable, the response that we're getting, where people are getting results in 45 days. So the Lambo comes with everything I offer, all the education, the business credit, the personal credit, 75% off of age Tradelines. And it comes with the fastest credit repair on human earth. That's called our Lambo program. It is very exclusive for people that are ready to change their life. And I said, is there a way we can get a spot today? I know I asked for 3 already this week. Usually they only give me 2 to 3 a week. I asked, can we open up another spot? Their response was, go to the reviews and check out what someone said yesterday. And I looked, because I don't look at the reviews that often, but I went to my website, creditgameu.com. Brings a tear to your eye, because when you see the people that went up hundreds of points from the 520 area to the 700. And they were able to get a $20,000 credit card, get their family out of their apartment where they're being shot at and drugs at every corner, and able to get a vehicle they wanted, or whatever the case is. These are real testimonies of people that will change their life. I was like, you know what? That's awesome. They told me I can open up 2 spots today because of that. I never get 2 spots that I can open up. That's how exclusive the Lambo is. That being said, call in now, 904-420-7772. God bless. Be safe. I'll talk to you in a few. Let's roll.